Greetings YouTube, this is Toy Customizer Wakeangel2K1 bringing you another toy review. Now what am I reviewing this time? I wanted it to be Excalibur Sonic, but it's going to be at least a few more days before I can either get the figure replaced or the joint repaired. So in the meantime, look what just came out! And check out what a friend of mine found in a Toys R Us Express in Manhattan. Alright, it's the Chaotix pack and the Classics Collector's Set. So why don't we go into these? Let's start with the Chaotix. So here is the Team Chaotix set. You have an Espio, Charmy with his teleport flower, and Vector. The set also includes some figure stands, and unlike most of the Jazzwares figure stands, which are black, these are made of translucent plastic. So I guess, they allow the figures to stand on them without really looking like they have anything to stand on. Help create the illusion that they can balance. So why don't we take a look at the figures on an individual basis. Let's start with Vector. Okay, Vector the Crocodile looks pretty much identical to the original release of the figure. I mean, aside from ways that the packing material makes him look, because the legs are sometimes twisted. There never was really anything particularly wrong with Vector the first time. Unless if these hip joints were loose, then there's no way he's standing, given how huge his head is. But really, his articulation all works pretty good. The only differences in sculpt are his hands. As you can see, the original Vector has a closed fist, where this one has an open gesturing hand, and a mirror version of the open gesturing hand on the other side, where Vector had a pointing gesture hand. Also, if you look at the bottoms of the feet, you can see that this Vector does not have a hole for the stand, while this one does. Okay, so now that the comparison's out of the way, let's get the old Vector out of the way and talk about new Vector. His articulation is good. He has universal shoulders. They move all around. He has a neck joint, which actually looks more like he's cocking his head to the side than actually looking around. He has a waist joint up here, universal hips, a good knee, ankle swivel, and his tail can rotate. So, he has all the good points of articulation that you would expect a Vector the Crocodile figure to have, and the figure has an excellent balance and can stand very well. His accessory is the walkie-talkie from Sonic Heroes. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. Oh yeah, the walkie-talkie is lovingly recreated. It has the battery pack on the back. It has the switch on the side, which has been picked out in paint, as well as the two buttons on the face and the speaker part. It even has this little gauge that, for some reason, because you need a little gauge to tell you how much noise your walkie-talkie is making. And the antenna is a little wiggly, but it's not like it's made out of chewing gum, like some other Jazzwares accessories I've seen. And it's a solid little brick of plastic. Vector's hand is sculpted so that you can just slide the walkie-talkie right in there. Although he suffers a little bit from from egg robo syndrome, where although the hand is perfectly sculpted for the accessory, there's very little grip there. So as you can see, he's holding it now because I wedged it in just right, but shaking the figure apart will invoke Murphy's Law, because every time I try to get him to hold it, he just drops it, but when I actually talk about him dropping it, he holds it securely. So yep, remember kids, all you gotta do to make him hold it is talk to your friends about how he can't hold it, because that's how the universe works. Okay, let's move on to the next guy. My favorite member of the Chaotix, Espio the Chameleon, has actually received a much bigger update to his sculpt than the Vector figure did. Once again, let's bring out the classic Espio figure, or the first run of the Espio figure. And you can see that they look pretty much the same, except for the hands. Espio has a gesturing ninja hand, like he's making a hand sign, and a fist, while the new version of Espio has two identical opened for holding things hands. He also comes with a new accessory, a kunai knife, which, yes, is a very nice little kunai knife. This is something I expect to find in a Ninja Turtle toy, except that the handle is painted. It's very nice, but let's put it to the side for a moment. Like I said, this is the most changed, because when you look at the original Espio, he has all the jointage that you would have expected from a Jazzwares figure about a year or so ago. But when you look at the new Espio figure, he has been given the Freeriders treatment. He has the screw holes on his joints are hidden, and he has been given Freeriders articulation with the bicep and knee swivels, along with a little hole in his foot for a stand. So now your more articulated Espio can take on more ninja poses, which would have been denied him by his previous iteration's articulation. Only problem, this is with my figure, I'm not sure if this is with everyone's, is that these joints are a little loose. I mean, look, his arm won't even stay up. This part of the joint is fine, but the shoulder swivel is very loose. Also, his legs are kind of wobbly, and his waist joint practically just can almost freely spin. You know, like this figure is kind of loose. I'm not sure if that's individual QC or flaw with the mold. Not sure if I can use the shoe polish trick in all these joints, because they're kind of different from the usual Transformers ball joint that eventually gets loose. I don't know. Although somewhat loose, he can still stand, and if you're careful, you can get him to hold a pose as well. So it's all okay. The Espio figure is the most updated in terms of articulation, and he is my favorite of the set. But then that's because Espio has always been my favorite from this team. Okay, so let's move on to the Charmy figure, which is the new one for the set, and I'm sure everybody wants to see him. And here is the much awaited Charmy the Bee figure. Now, some of you may recall how I made a custom of Charmy a few months ago, and this is basically why I don't like making characters from the video games, because there's a greater probability that Jazzwares is going to go ahead and make them. Now, Charmy is inevitably going to be compared to the classics, the Sonic Classic figures, so I figured I would just quickly get that out of the way. Here is an Amy Rose. As you can see, the body is pretty much classic, except the proportions are more modern, with the head that's significantly smaller than a classic's head. Okay, now that's out of the way. Let's talk about Charmy himself. Charmy comes with by far the biggest accessory. It's one of the teleport flowers from Sonic Heroes, which boasts 4 surprising bits of articulation. Each petal, each of the pink petals that is articulated and can be in closed mode and active open mode, which is pretty nice. And the base is ball jointed, so it can wiggle around a little bit. Hey flower, pretty flower, open up and I'll sting you. So that's very nice. As for Charmy himself, his wings are nice transparent plastic, which is really cool. He has that adorable little bumblebee thing on his shirt. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit closer on that. Yes, and you can see he has the collar and the zipper all individually picked out. His headgear is very nice with the flight goggles on top of the helmet. And he has little shoes with zippers on them. Very nice. I kind of wish I had sneakers that had zippers on them. Imagine how much time you save lacing up. Also, some people criticize my Cosmo figure for having an obvious seam on the face. Well, Jazzwares sure knows how to put an obvious seam on their faces too, don't they? There's really only one flaw in the figure's paint job, and that is here on the back of the head. You see everything below the helmet is skin colored. Espio is supposed to be black here, not skin colored. I think that was a paint flub, or somebody missed a memo. Other than that, the figure is very nice, and really, if you're looking at him from the front or even from the sides, it isn't too noticeable. You have to be looking at him from behind and below to really appreciate the miscoloring. Although I might go in there and fix that later. His articulation is very much a classics figure. He has universal shoulders, no elbows to speak of, or at all. He has a wrist movement. He has universal hips. He has an ankle rotation, and he has a waist joint, although it's kind of cut in a weird place. You see how you would expect the waist joint to be cut along the shirt line, but it actually just goes right to the middle of his abdomen, which is kind of weird because it looks like he just got cut in half. But hey, they gave him a waist joint and they really didn't have to, so good for them. So that is the Charmy figure. I think he came out very, very nice. And with him, we complete Team Chaotix. So Team Sonic, Team Chaotix, and Team Babylon are all completed. We only need now a Cream the Rabbit to round out Team Rose. And now with Rouge coming out sometime next month, an Omega figure will round out Team Dark. And then we'll have all the major teams. Then they can start going into some more obscure characters like Eggman Nega and Captain Whisker and stuff like that. The Chaotix 3-pack may seem like a bit daunting because it's forcing you to repurchase an Espio and Vector figure you probably already have just to get a new Charmy. But I think that Jazzwares did a pretty good job meeting us in the middle with the improved articulation on the Espio figure and the addition of the little accessories, which we had not previously seen very much of in Sonic figures before. Here's looking forward to the future when they start to bring out other characters. I believe I've already seen some pictures of the colored-in Blaze the Cat figure, which should be very good. And I will try to bring you those figures as soon as they come out. So the Chaotix triple pack gets a big fat recommendation from me, even if you already have Espio and Vector. Then again, I'm still Toy Customizer Wakeangel2K1, so having extra figures isn't really too big a problem for me because I can always make Prelate S and V, or even make other members of Espio's Ninja Clan from the Archie comic book. But that's a story for a completely different time. This is Toy Customizer Wakeangel2K1 signing out.